little fox.
It was Christmas Eve, and the city of London was full of holiday cheer. Despite the bitter cold, people were smiling and laughing as they went about their business. Even the horses pulling carts and wagons seemed jollier than usual. But not everyone was feeling the warm Christmas spirit. A man named Ebenezer Scrooge was still hard at work. The air inside his counting house office was nearly as cold as the air outside. Scrooge could afford to keep the building warm if he liked. But he believed in making and saving money, not spending it. He was so miserly that he allowed himself to light only a very small fire. He allowed his employee, Bob Cratchit, an even smaller one. As the two men worked, the door suddenly flew open. A smiling young man burst in.
Merry Christmas, Uncle Scrooge!
It was Scrooge's nephew, Fred.
Ah,
Scrooge said.
humbug!
Fred's eyes sparkled with amusement.
Are you calling Christmas a humbug, Uncle? I'm sure you don't mean to say that this wonderful holiday is a bunch of nonsense.
I certainly do mean that.
Scrooge said.
I hate Christmas. And why are you so merry? It's not as if you're wealthy with nothing to worry about.
I won't disagree with that.
Fred said cheerfully.
I'm not a rich man. But why are you so miserable? Unlike me, you are wealthy. So shouldn't you be cheerful?
Scrooge rolled his eyes.
I can't believe I live in a world full of fools like you.
Don't be so cross, Uncle.
Fred grinned.
It's Christmas!
You can celebrate Christmas in your own way.
Scrooge said.
Let me celebrate it in mine.
Celebrate it?
Fred raised his eyebrows.
But you don't celebrate it.
Let me ignore it then.
Scrooge snapped.
In my opinion, celebrating it has never done anyone any good at all.
Fred shrugged.
Christmas has certainly never made me any money. But it is a kind, forgiving, and pleasant time. It's a time when men and women open their hearts and try to help others. Therefore, Uncle, I believe it has done me good. And it will continue to do me good for as long as I live.
Scrooge scowled.
You're a powerful speaker, Fred. You should run for a seat in Parliament.
Fred laughed.
I haven't come to talk about money or politics. I've come to invite you to dine with us tomorrow on Christmas Day.
Good afternoon.
Scrooge said coldly, clearly dismissing his nephew. Fred tried once more to convince his uncle to come to dinner. But Scrooge's voice only got louder.
I said good afternoon!
Finally, Fred shrugged and gave up.
I can see that you're determined to stay angry. Still, I wish you a Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Good afternoon!
And a Happy New Year!
Fred added with a grin. On his way out, Fred stopped to wish Bob Cratchit a happy holiday. Scrooge's eyes narrowed as he listened to the two men exchanging friendly words.
Now Cratchit is the one talking about a Merry Christmas for no good reason.
Scrooge muttered to himself.
What right does that man have to be merry? The fool has chosen to try to support a wife and 6 children on a tiny salary. It's barely enough for one person, never mind an entire family.
A few minutes later, Fred was gone. But two other people knocked on the door of the office. When Scrooge opened the door, he saw two older gentlemen standing there, smiling and well-dressed.
This business belongs to Scrooge and Marley, I believe.
One said in a pleasant voice.
Am I speaking to Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
Marley has been dead for 7 years.
Scrooge said bluntly. He rarely thought about his old partner anymore, even though Jacob Marley had built the business along with him.
Oh, I'm sorry for your loss, Mr. Scrooge.
The second man said with a bow.
We won't take up much of your time. We're only here to ask you to be generous during this festive time of year.
Yes.
The first man added.
We're collecting donations for the poor. Many people lack even basic comforts of life, such as food and warm clothing.
That's why there are prisons!
Scrooge yelled.
I'd rather support those and let the poor be.
While Scrooge worked inside his office, the day darkened into night. Outside, the weather grew foggy and damp. The air temperature dropped even lower, making people shiver in their winter coats. Finally, the end of the business day arrived. As soon as Bob Cratchit saw his boss rise from his stool, he leaped to his feet too. He put out his candle and reached for his hat. Scrooge stared coldly at his employee.
You'll want the whole day off tomorrow for Christmas, I suppose.
He asked in a disagreeable voice.
Yes.
Cratchit smiled uncertainly.
That is, if you don't mind, sir.
I do mind!
Scrooge said.
And not only that, but I also find it quite unfair. If I held back your pay, people would say you were poorly treated. Meanwhile, nobody would consider me poorly treated if I paid you for no work.
Christmas comes only once per year, Mr. Scrooge.
Cratchit said softly. Scrooge let out a harumph.
That's a poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December. But I suppose you may have the day off. Make sure you're early on the following day.
Cratchit's eyes lit up.
I will be here early, sir. I promise. Thank you.
The two men shut up the office, and then Cratchit ran off down the street. Scrooge, however, walked slowly, ignoring all signs of the holiday around him. He ate his melancholy dinner in his usual melancholy inn, with only a newspaper for company. Then he walked home toward his apartment, which had once belonged to Jacob Marley. At the front door of the apartment building, Scrooge put his key in the lock. Then he blinked, startled by something odd.
Why does the door knocker look so strange?
He thought.
Is it the fog?
Scrooge leaned in closer for a better look.
Marley?
He gasped. To his shock, the door knocker had taken on the shape of his old partner's face. Marley looked much like himself, with his spectacles resting on his forehead. Yet his face was glowing with an eerie light, and an invisible breeze was stirring his hair. Suddenly, the knocker seemed to freeze, returning to its usual appearance. Scrooge shook his head and muttered to himself. He was not usually frightened by things looking odd in the dark. Still, he couldn't help feeling uneasy as he unlocked the door and entered the building. He hurried toward the stairs, which were hidden in darkness. No one else lived in the rundown building, so there was no reason for Scrooge to expect to see anything there. However, tonight, he saw something moving on the stairs. Horses were pulling a hearse and galloping up the steps ahead of him. Scrooge groaned and closed his eyes for a moment.
I must have eaten some bad meat at dinner,
He thought.
The inn will hear my complaints tomorrow, Christmas or not!
He stomped up the stairs and into his apartment. Once again, he felt oddly worried. He checked each room to be sure he was alone. To his relief, there was nobody behind the sitting room sofa or under the bed. All the closets looked just as they should. Finally satisfied, he locked the door behind him. He changed into his slippers and bathrobe and sat down near the fire with a cup of tea. Dong, dong. He nearly dropped the cup when a bell rang out from behind him. Spinning around, he saw that the bell hanging in the corner was swinging back and forth. Back when the building had been one large house, the bell had been used to summon servants. But since Scrooge had no use for it, he had never heard it ring before. Suddenly, more bells began to ring. Scrooge felt a terrible dread.
First the door knocker, then the stairs, and now this? What on earth is going on?
He thought. All at once, the bells stopped. Then a loud clanking noise rose from somewhere below. It sounded as if someone was dragging heavy chains across the floor and up the stairs.
What's that awful sound?
Scrooge whispered. The clanking sound came closer. Soon it was right outside his door. Then, a dark figure slipped into the room. As the fire crackled and flamed higher, Scrooge could finally see his frightening visitor.
I know you!
Scrooge cried, dropping to the floor in shock.
You're Jacob Marley!
Scrooge could hardly believe his eyes. His former partner, Jacob Marley, stood there looking like a ghost, metal chains wrapped all around his transparent body.
What do you want from me, Marley?
Scrooge cried.
I want many things from you.
Marley's voice sounded exactly the same.
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
Yes.
Scrooge felt his legs wobble.
Can you sit down?
I can.
Let's both do it then.
The two of them sat near the fire. Scrooge continued to stare at the ghost in disbelief. Marley cocked his head.
You don't believe in ghosts, Ebenezer, do you?
Not normally.
Scrooge said.
But tonight, so many strange things.
Why do you doubt your senses?
Marley demanded.
Because little things can affect your senses.
Scrooge said.
For example, you could be a hallucination caused by bad food I've eaten, like poorly cooked meat. Or whatever you are, you do remind me more of gravy than a grave.
Scrooge rarely made jokes, for he had little sense of humor. But he was trying to keep down his terror in any way he could. The ghost of Jacob Marley was disturbing him to his bones. The figure moaned and shook his chains loudly, clearly not amused. Scrooge held on tightly to his chair to prevent himself from fainting.
Dreadful creature! Why are you here?
Do you believe in me or not?
Marley demanded. Scrooge closed his eyes.
I do. You are here, so I must believe in you. But why have you come to me?
I wear these heavy chains which I made myself, link by link and yard by yard. They are the result of the poor choices I made while alive.
Marley glared at Scrooge with his awful eyes.
You have made the same choices, Ebenezer. You continue to make them.
Jacob,
Scrooge said.
this is terrifying. Say something that will comfort me.
I have no comfort to give.
Marley said.
I am doomed to drag these chains with me as a ghost. It's my punishment for a lifetime of selfishness, pettiness, and greed.
But you were always so good at business.
Scrooge said.
Business? Ha!
Marley scoffed.
Humans should have been my business. Charity, mercy, and kindness should have been my business. But listen to me closely, Ebenezer. My time with you is short. And I'm here to warn you that you have only one chance of escaping the same fate. Tonight, you will be haunted by 3 ghosts.
Scrooge gulped.
More ghosts? I think I'd rather just go to bed.
Without their visits, you are doomed to follow the same path that I walk. These ghosts will show you the way to save yourself. Expect the first one very soon. Goodbye, Ebenezer, and good luck.
Marley backed away, clanking his chains and moaning. Scrooge cowered as the ghost floated out through the window. After Marley was gone, Scrooge hurried to the window. Outside, the air was filled with phantoms floating here and there, moaning as they went. Every one of them wore chains like Marley's ghost. Scrooge went pale as he recognized some of his old business acquaintances. Turning away from the dreadful sight, he went to the door to make sure it was locked. Then, holding his head in his hands, he went into his bedroom. He climbed into bed and fell asleep instantly. Scrooge woke up some time later. It was very dark, and the church bell was ringing. Scrooge counted the bell's chimes, expecting them to stop, as they always did. But they continued on and on.
How strange.
Scrooge thought.
Am I dreaming?
At last, the chimes stopped, and a loud bong shook the walls. At the same moment, an eerie light filled the room. Scrooge's eyes opened wide at the sight of a figure standing beside his bed. The figure was a strange combination of a young child and an old man. Its hair was long and white, but its face was smooth, without the slightest wrinkle. It wore a white tunic and held a fresh green holly branch in one hand.
I suppose you're one of the ghosts that Marley told me about?
Scrooge's voice shook as he spoke.
I am.
The ghost's voice was soft and gentle.
Do you have a name?
Scrooge asked.
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
The spirit clasped Scrooge gently by the arm.
Arise and walk with me.